My name is Giuliano Testa. I'm a human. I'm a beautiful animal, essentially. Aren't we all? And I'm currently writing a magna opus that I believe is going to emancipate us from the paradigms that are currently controlling us in our society and preventing us from essentially our human destiny as outlined by our ancestors. I essentially believe that fundamentally there are three things wrong with society, how we've developed. One is the religious paradigm that no one can make sense of. That has been obviously going on for millennia. The second one is our flawed education system. And the third one is our flawed understanding of psychology and the flawed crack therapy system built thereon. And all three of those are unfortunately, shall we say, interlinked. And there is a root to the cause. So what has actually happened? What have I done? I've taken a step back and I've said, okay, our species is sick. Our species has developed, quote unquote, a mental illness that is almost more akin to an addiction of sorts. I've then sought to a degree, reinvent psychology so that it can be applied to the species as a whole. I've understood the ailment, and in doing so, I have explored the pathology of that disease. And in exploring the pathology of the disease, I've been able to, shall we say, expose it. I've been able to explain it and apply it on a global scale. And as such, I'm currently fleshing out the cure in order to administer to the species in order to cure us from this ailment. Children are stunted. Children are patronized.
Yes, they are.
And just like our children are currently patronized, not only are we patronizing our future generation, what's actually happened is because we've patronized our ancestors so much, we're actually blind to what they have said and what they knew. And we're basically living in a world where they've been running around believing in hocus pocus when the actual truth of the matter is it is our society that is walking around with Santa Claus in our head, not them. And the important thing is we need to prevent this for our children because we're currently teaching them that, and that's going to lead to one thing. The one thing our species is trying to avoid, extinction. And quite frankly, at the moment, we are on a trajectory mentally for extinction through ignorance and abuse. And this must stop because it's not in our nature. We didn't evolve thanks to this, you know, and this is part of the point. There are many great thoughts that I touch on in the book from other great men, but the ideology attached to them sometimes has been, shall we say, misappropriated in society, which has had negative side effects, which we ourselves have been unaware of because it seems so natural or so profound. We've got swept up in that great thought. So essentially what I wish to do is present original thought, you know, the crux of the matter, the hard thing to come by. What is the real commodity? It is original thought. Right. And I have gone on long enough, like you, to know that modern historians, modern scholars, modern anthropologists, and so forth, all they're doing is quoting the book they read, and that book is quoting the book they read. No one is actually saying anything different. Everybody is bound on the exact same paradigm. And I believe we're kind of hitting a bit of a crossroads in society that if we don't really figure out what happened, we never will be able to. And so what has happened, Damien, is that currently the species has a bit of an identity crisis. And we just like anybody with an identity crisis, if we never solve that, if we don't understand who we were, where we came from, if we can't remember that, we can never grow up into the person we should be. And so that's what's happening in society. We're still we're a very old species, but we're also a very young species. And because of our amnesia and identity crisis, we've hit a crossroads. And I have noticed that, and I intend with original thought to try and bridge that gap, so to speak, in order to remove ignorance from the masses, in order to make people like you who wish to have a tool in your hand to literally take and say, here, that is actually what it says.
Right.
Think about that. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to single-handedly create a tool and a bandage and a Swiss Army knife for the mind, so to speak, that we can use, and people like you who are passionate humans who are just interested in the truth, whatever it is, you know there's something more, you know that modern scholars have missed something, you question even the timeline in history books. This is natural. This is perfectly natural. You're perfectly correct in doing that. And what I wish to do is share my discoveries so that anyone can pick it up, feel empowered to say, wow, finally it makes sense. And with this information, I can actually make a difference. I'm going to create an entire intellectual renaissance where people have a tool to make discoveries of their own. Because let's face it, I'm not going to have time in my lifetime to read every single ancient source and, retranslate everything and figure everything out. But if I'm able to come up, shall we say, with a skeleton key that I can give you and present the world, then, well, we can all work on it simultaneously. And that's what we want. We want to end the age of rediscovery so we can, as a species, truly enter an age of discovery.
That's an interesting idea.
All the paradigms that I break, so to speak, within there, opening our eyes to look at ancient civilizations. I present all my discoveries. I present, shall we say, the skeleton key. I present how to use the blueprint I've invented, so to speak. And as such, it's about removing the paradigms that hold us now, exposing it for future generations so that they themselves can look out for other paradigms so that they themselves are not prey to what we had to go through. So society never hits a juncture where we get confused again. So, we basically, to quote a couple of lines out of my book, we have as a species gone off trajectory evolutionary. And I intend to show how and why that has happened and to correct that. And so when we see that mechanism, future generations know how to recognize it, so we never need to fall prey to that again. So our evolutionary trajectory can keep on its usual momentum, shall we say. And I'm also having the mind of it being completely approachable for anyone, whether you are a scholar, whether you are a layman, whether you are an armchair anthropologist, whether you're a single mother, whether you're a child, whether you're looking for a textbook. This is something that is approachable for all of us, that all of us need. And as mentioned, it's also a tool of peace that people like you can have in your hand to fight the good fight, so to speak,
Right on.